everyone, and we are back with another episode for our podcast Beneath Your Skin. And this time we are going to analyze the movie The Rite. And I watched it when it came out in theaters many years ago, too many, so we are not going to say how many. And I enjoyed it. Rewatching it today, I enjoyed it even more. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie because, okay, I am a nerd and I also have a passion for names and everything connected to names. So this movie was the perfect example of the ancient Latin said that went more or less like this: in nomen omen. So the omen of something is in the name, or another way they had to say is nomina sunt consequentia rerum. The names are consequences of things. So everything is based on names. Names have the power to unlock many doors, many mysteries. They have the power to heal and they have the power to kill. So the whole movie was perfectly done around this concept, and I really enjoyed it. And okay, I have a weakness for Anthony Hopkins, so that was one of the reasons why I enjoyed the movie so much. Zoe, what do you think?
Okay, so I've got good news, bad news. There's a bit of a love-hate thing going on with this movie. Like, when it's good, it's really, really good. When it's not, it's boring as slow as anything. Like, there are some... I don't know whether to start with the good or the bad. I'll start with the bad. The things that hated it for me is the fact that the film needed to be half an hour shorter. Like the fact that it took 20 minutes to even get to talk about exorcisms, and it's just him like, I'm boxing, oh, I'm going to do my father's business, oh, blah, blah. I was like, shut up! Do something! Do something! Do something! What is this film about? Oh no, he's being sent to Italy to learn about exorcisms. 20 minutes that takes. It's about 40 minutes before he sees his first potential demonic possession. And I'm like, for a 2-hour runtime, you've got to get your editing down. So it really slowed the beginning of the movie, which kind of sours you for the rest of it, because you're like, oh, now stuff's happening. And it's like, oh, but when the stuff's happening, it's really good. But taking 40 minutes to get there is a little bit much. And I think the biggest problem with that is the fact that the main character we're following around is as dull as dishwater, and I hated him. I was just like, I don't care about your life, you're boring, and you don't have any expressions, and you just kind of stand there and go, oh, I'm like, express yourself. Even when he's like interviewing people going, well, it could actually be like a mental health issue. It's just like everything is deadpan and dry, and it's like, oh, you are not good. But on the plus side, Anthony Hopkins is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, how much of this must have been ad-libs? Because it just seems like so many injected with so much like random one-liners that come out of nowhere but are perfect, and he's just so good. So whenever he's doing anything, I'm just like fully invested. And the ending, like the stuff that goes down, is really good. I just wish the main character wasn't the most dullest creature ever, and they didn't have to interject like a romance plot line in the middle of this. Like, cut all the romance out and his boring family history at the beginning, and maybe give him some expressions. If you can get past that, then there's a good film in here. There is definitely a good film in here. But if I can't get on with the protagonist, it really sours me in a movie.
I have to admit, I can agree with you. The beginning of the movie was very slow. But at the same time, I still found good things in the beginning of the movie. I like to focus on little details. So what I really enjoyed is that when we are still seeing the logo, the WB logo, we hear someone talking and calling the main character, Michael, don't be afraid. And then a question that is very important for the whole movie. Do you believe in sin? And then we keep going through the credits, the opening credits, and we see this young boy who looks exactly like a normal person. At the beginning, we even think he's a doctor or something connected with medicine, because we see needles, we see some strange thing with tubes and things like that, and we can believe it could actually be a doctor, but no, he is a mortician. So he is a normal guy with a not so normal job, because how many people do we know who are morticians? And but he's still a normal person, normal guy. He has friends. He loves sport. But then we realize he's trapped into a life he doesn't want. So he only has two options in life. He can stay and be a mortician like his father, or he can be a priest, because it looks like no other professions are available in his family. So he leaves everything behind. He goes study to the seminary, and he graduates. He even graduates. He fails theology, but he is very good at psychology. And that's something that will come back to us during the movie. When he moved to Rome, he's skeptic. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in demons. He doesn't believe in anything, basically. But the root of this not believing in anything is that, in truth, he doesn't believe in himself. So names are important, as I said. And so we have his mentor named Matthew. Matthew is the author of the first gospel, and he is the mentor. So he is the first one who wrote the words of God, and he is the first one who taught the words of God to the people. And that's his name. Michael is, like I already said, is Princeps Angelorum. He is the first angel after Lucifer, of course. He is second only to God, and he is also the one who is called during exorcism as an help, as an outside help. So Michael is a very important name. And then we have Lucas. Lucas is the name of the author of the third gospel, and St. Luke, and is represented as strength and sacrifice. And the main character, Anthony Hopkins' character, is going to almost sacrifice himself so that Michael can finally see what everyone already saw in him, that he is there for a reason. He was called there in Rome for a reason. And at the end, finally, not only he accepts that demons are real, the devil is real, but because he accepts the devil is real, he finally accepts that God is real, and he believes, he finally sees that he always believed. He just didn't want to admit it. So, name, Angelina. Angelina is the Italian girl who, the journalist. Angelina is just one of the many forms that comes from the word angel. So basically, Angelina means little angel. And we find out that her too has a huge history with demonic possession, with believing or not believing. She feels guilty because she didn't believe in her brother. Her brother is in a mental institution because she sent him there. because they think he's crazy, but she doubts that. Could he be possessed? Yes, no. We are going to see, to find out during the movie. And then Rosario. Rosaria is the girl, the Italian, the pregnant girl, who is the first proof that demons are real. And Rosaria is just another form, the feminine form for Rosario, and Rosario is the rosary, the crown you pray with when you want to talk to God, or when you want to pray by yourself, or when you are going to exorcise someone. So names are fundamental in this movie, and that's exactly why I really loved it, because I'm a nerd and I really wanted to point out all the names and what they mean. I also really enjoyed how in a very subtle way we see the teacher, Father Xavier, and we see this man dressed in white, and that's a Dominican. Dominicans are among the most ancient orders inside the Catholic Church, but above all, they covered many rules during the church history. They are the scholars. St. Thomas of Aquin was one of the first scholars who left us huge books, almost totally impossible to comprehend, the Summa Theologiae, pages and pages of very complicated things that you have to study if you are stupid enough to pick up a philosophy exam at the university. So, but during the darkest times of the church, they also were warriors and they were inquisitors. One of the most famous inquisitor in history, Tomás de Torquemada, was a Dominican. So they always were teachers, but they were also the controlling one behind the scene during the church history. So it was a nice trick to put a Dominican as a teacher. And another thing I really enjoyed, when we start to listen to his voice long before we see him, because Michael is late, and we hear the teacher's voice while we go with him through the court and the corridors of the beautiful building in the Vatican. And we learned that there is a very particular ether before an exorcist is called. So it's not, in many movies, we already see the exorcist there because he was called, or because the ether was already explained off screen. No, this time we learn how actually you arrive to see an exorcist. It's not so normal, it's not so common. There is a very long way before the bishop allows an exorcist to even see someone. So it's not so normal. It's not like, oh my God, I think I am possessed, I need to go to the exorcist. No, it doesn't work like that. And I liked this, because finally we see that unlike in the Lux Exorcism, for example, it's not like someone calls you, someone sends you a letter and you take your bag and arrive. No, it doesn't work like that. First, you have to see many doctors. And then when every other possibility was checked and has nothing to do with your condition, only then perhaps you can see an exorcist. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that for once we saw that is not so common and so normal, not even for the Catholic Church, to send exorcists all over the place.
No, the film, I've give it a lot of credit. There is a lot of attention to detail. I just wish they'd put it on the shoulders of a stronger actor with a better performance, because it really, upset me how dull this guy was, and I was just like, he needs to have a little bit more weight to him, because there is so much attention to detail in this, like everything. Like, I've got to say that the score is some of the most phenomenal scoring. It's gorgeous. The music they use to heighten anything, the music they use in the backgrounds, transitions. It's absolutely phenomenal scoring. Absolutely love it. The cinematography is divine. The use of color, like exorcisms, and like the darkness and the sub levels, and that kind of like when like juxtaposed when they're out in the real world, and it's light and it's color and it's flavor, and it's all those things that like the what the real world seems like. It's full of bars and lights and just and entertainment and joy. And then exorcisms, it's like everything gets a darker shade and it's more earth tone and it's underground as opposed to overground. And I love that kind of stuff, and like some of the sets and like this like are just beautiful, and a lot of it is because like this is a beautiful city, right? Absolutely like gorgeous, and they use it well. They know how to film the buildings, stage the lighting. The production was just absolutely gorgeous, and everyone else's performances. I mean, Anthony Hopkins steals this movie. Like every scene he's in is amazing. I love the fact that they start it off with that whole, is he kind of just mental or is he actually performing exorcisms? That kind of like little like, he could just be insane. Like, why are they letting him do this stuff? They just seem to be letting him indulge in this exorcism fantasy. But it's like, no, he's really doing it. But obviously the twist with when he starts going insane himself, and you're like, well, he is mental. But it's just like that layers of like, oh no, he's only going mental because now he's being taken over by the thing he was fighting in the first place. And that battle to and forth of those compelling ideas of like, is he doing exorcisms or is he mad? Like, is because he's mental, is he projecting his obsession of exorcisms onto people and projecting his ideas of the devil onto people? Are those like, is that how he's working through his own stuff, or is there literally demons and they seem to like know about him? And you get the sense that very much there is demonic forces in this world. The stuff that goes on, unlike the last exorcism, which was just like, I don't believe you're possessed. I'm like, you know what? That's not normal. I do think that there's definitely, and the thing is, it's not for any special effects or anything. It's about performance, the way they move their bodies, the way they do the lighting, the way like they make it more obvious with the dual toning of the voices, all really good. But then they also put that layer on the thing that the last exorcism was a bit like was dancing around and then decided it wasn't, is the fact that this girl, she's been sexually abused by her father. She is a victim of rape, she's a victim of incest, she's carrying so much shame, and that could be a massive trigger. I'm pretty sure, having watched this film now, this is what the people that made the last exorcism watched and went, ooh, we can do our own spin on this. And you're like, no you can't. No, you can't. Like, the only people that managed to perfect this particular spin was the people who made, like, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Because that came out later, and that was another level of, like, true or false, or what is the meaning of this. The Last Exorcism, like, pales in comparison to this. Yeah, and it's so much good. And as I say, Anthony Hopkins' performance, phenomenal. The way he, like, those witty one-liners, the way he sounds sinister to childlike to, like, kind of cryptic and, like, father figure-y to, like, hey, dude, like, to just plain evil. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I loved Anthony Hopkins in every single scene. He knows what he's doing. He realizes that Michael is a skeptic. He doesn't believe, and he doesn't force him to believe. He just takes Michael with him to see Rosaria for the first time, and slowly, little by little, through his experience, he shows Michael that he's just very scared. He's still the scared little boy we see at the beginning of the movie, the one who doesn't want to see his mom's dead body. And little by little, Michael starts to doubt. But when someone who really doesn't want to believe begins to question himself, the reaction is extreme. So he sees the bracelet that Rosaria is wearing is the same bracelet we see on the dead body of the one woman he was preparing, and he still denies what it's clearly under his eyes. So he denies. He doesn't listen to Father Lucas when he tells him that just because he doesn't believe in the devil, that doesn't make him safe from the devil himself. And we are so very sure at some point that the main focus of the movie is to save Rosaria. But that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is that the demon, who is possessing Rosaria right now, wants someone else, wants a bigger prize. And that prize is Father Lucas himself. And what is heartbreaking is that he knows, unlike people who are possessed and who remains lucid, he knows there is something very wrong with him. He knows since the beginning that he is the new possessed person. He knows, and he knows he's losing his battle. So now he really needs help. He really needs Michael to become what he was always supposed to be. And it's heartbreaking when he throws up the nail like Rosaria did, and he knows. When he sees it, he knows he didn't swallow any nail, so he knows he's fucked. He's also almost probably screwed because for now Michael is not ready, and so we are like, okay, what the hell is going to happen now? And for a moment we hope that Father Xavier can arrive in time, but Father Xavier choose that weekend to leave the Vatican. So yeah, he was really unlucky. Poor Father Lucas, he was really, really unlucky. But finally, we, during the last few scenes, we see Michael to blossom into what he was always supposed to be. So at first, he's scared. At first, he doubts in himself because he doesn't believe in himself, so he can't believe in anything else, because it's like, if you don't love yourself, you can't love any other people. So if you don't believe in yourself, you can't believe in anything else, not even in God. So first of all, Angelina is the one who gives him strength when he tells him that he is not alone anymore. And he comes back into the room. He starts to the exorcism again, and once again Father Lucas and Bahal are too skilled, and he's still too new to this, so they are still in charge. And then finally, when violence explodes and the possessed Father Lucas hits Angelina with all her fears, all her self-loathing, all her pain for what happened to her brother, and chokes her. Finally, Michael reacts with physical violence, and then finally, when we are pretty sure he's going to die or to be possessed himself, he admits he finally believes in the devil, but that only means that he finally is ready to believe in God, to really believe in God, that gives him the strength to finally fight once and for all. And that the way that scene is shooted from above, when there is Anthony Hopkins with his head throw back, and we saw his eyes first, and the perfect makeup, because that's that only makeup, splendidly done. And he screams and screams, and he becomes almost totally black because the possession is almost totally done. Wow. wow, that scene is so strong, so deep, so heartbreaking, and he's splendid in his acting. And finally, he begins to scream his demonic name, and once again, names are power. And finally, that power is in Michael's name. Finally, he has the key to free Father Lucas, and it's amazing. I don't remember my reaction when I watched it, when I watched the movie in the theaters, but I was jumping up and down on my seat right now, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, yes, 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 yes. I was so happy. It was so well done. It was worth the whole movie. For me, it was worth the whole movie. That final scene with the possessed Anthony Hopkins, it was perfect.
I think you can say over and over again just how good Anthony Hopkins. I mean, he's amazing as an actor, but he's very good in this film, and he's phenomenal in this movie. It's just such an amazing performance, and it really like sells everything. And I always love the idea that the devil thinks he's winning. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, you believe in me then, you believe in me. And he's like, I'm going to admit it. And he's like, no, no, don't admit it, don't admit it. And then he's like, I do, I believe in you, and I know you exist. And the devil's like, nah. It's like, but if you exist, then so does God. And therefore there is power in the belief. And I've made you a believer. Yeah,
Oh,
and it's that Emily Rose line of like, if you believe in demons, you'll believe in like God, and it's just like, yes, it's like faith, reclaiming faith by admitting that there is darkness, and once you admit there's darkness, then you can admit that there's also light, and yeah, to know darkness is to know that there's something else can get you out of the darkness, and I like that message. I do like that message.
yeah, because it was the opposite message. Because usually, when you, even if you believe in God, you don't believe in the devil, you don't believe in demonic possession, because we live in a scientific society, so we don't believe in possession anymore. This time, it was the same concept, but from another point of view. To believe in God, you have first to believe in the devil. And I really liked these two very different point of view. I really enjoyed.
Yeah. I also like the idea that to have belief and have faith in anything, you have to believe in yourself first.
Exactly, exactly. That was the core of the whole movie. He didn't believe in himself, even because he didn't have any reason to believe in himself. He did nothing with his life until that moment. So, yeah, it made sense for him not to believe in himself.
Yes, he found a purpose and a focus that he actually cared about, which gave him more personality because he was a wishy-washy dude to begin with, and you're just like, oh, just have some more conviction in you. But, he found it in the end, which is very good.
Yeah, indeed. And he goes back home. He didn't want to be a priest. And he goes back home. He is a priest. He has his own parishioner. And yeah, all is good, but things had to get worse before they got better.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's life. And that's life.
Yes,
that's basically life. Yeah.
Very much. It is. Yeah, that's how life plays out. Sometimes to find yourself again, you have to get all the way to the bottom before you can climb out.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed the message of the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I loved Anthony Hopkins. So I have to admit, I am happy with this movie. I'm happy with what we watched. And I'm happy we somehow disagree on this movie, because it was a good way to have.
Yeah. I mean, I can see all the good in it. I just think it needed to be tightened up on the editing, and I think they needed a slightly stronger performance, a little bit more presence, and facial expression, because everything was a little blank and stilted. But maybe that's because his character was blank and stilted. Maybe that was the point.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I
just
think it was because he
yeah,
changed. At the
yeah.
end, he changed.
He
He
seemed
got
warmer. Yeah,
yeah, he got expressions. He got fire inside himself, and yeah, I think he was dull at the beginning because he needed to be dull. He
yeah,
needed to find a key to finally open the door of his own life and become himself,
yeah.
become the Michael he was supposed to be.
I think in the day of like the way like cinema is presented nowadays, like if it had made now, they would have told more of that beginning backstory in flashbacks later. So you would have had your hook earlier, then you would have accepted it. Like, because storytelling changes with different generations and stuff. And I think this is a film that could definitely have had an earlier hook, and I would have been fine with all the like backstory coming a little bit later because I would have been invested in this character rather than kind of going, I am not invested in you. But luckily, Anthony Hopkins' character, I am loving. I'm loving this guy. And what I love also about his character, I love Lucas, is the fact that he has all this belief and he has this conviction and he knows that he's fighting demons and nothing like strays him from the path, and he is happy to be himself regardless of any kind of like judgment or how other people see him. He's like, no, he's admit he has failed, he has lost faith, he's gained faith, he's struggled, but he is convicted and it's his journey and it doesn't matter what other people think about it. What matters is what he thinks about it. And yeah, I
He's
like that.
human.
Yeah,
He's very human, and like any human, he has dark moments. He has moments in which he is lost. He has moments in which he is enraged. He has moments in which he is at ease with himself. So I think he was a three-dimensional character
yeah,
in the
very well.
real. He wasn't all black, he wasn't all white, because in real life there are so many shades of gray that it wouldn't have been believable otherwise.
No.
And yeah, I really enjoyed the way his character was written, the way he played the character. It was mind-blowing. And yeah, I really enjoyed. I think I still enjoyed the movie. I really liked the movie, even if it was a little bit too slow at the beginning.
Yeah, no. Once it gets there, it gets there. It really does. I'm not. Yeah, I'm definitely. I just. I think I needed an earlier hook, but I
Yeah.
can. Yeah, but as I say, Anthony Hopkins makes this movie. It's phenomenal, and it does pay attention to the details. It does use its history. It does use names of actual demons that you recognize in its lore. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was very well done. And I also think what really happened on screen in front of us is that Anthony Hopkins' characters just found his air, because Michael is just a younger version of himself. He too was full of doubts at the beginning. He's still human and with doubts even now, but I think Anthony Hopkins found someone who will finally keep his work going, even when he won't be able to do it anymore. And that's the beauty of this movie, because it was the story of a father and a son. Only father and son didn't have a blood connection.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
No, it's
people,
nice to see you so happy.
people. What can I say? I really enjoyed the movie, and I loved Anthony Hopkins. So yeah, I'm smiling right now like a crazy person. So normality is overrated. So
There you go.
thank you all for listening to us, and I hope Zoe didn't have anything else to.
No, I'm
perfect. So thank you. Thank you all. And it was good to record this episode, and we hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on our Twitter, Beneath Your Skin, and our Facebook page, Beneath Your Skin. And we also are on Spotify. So if you want to listen to us, we are there.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us again. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I look forward to talking to you all again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-byes.